I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars with phone flipping, and a fair amount of that money that I've made has came from people supplying me with iPhones in bulk. So in other words, suppliers. In this video, I'll show you 3 methods on exactly how you can find suppliers and how suppliers can find you. Also, I'm breaking down what exactly a supplier is and how it could make you a bunch of money. So suppliers are probably the best thing in phone flipping. Honestly, nobody really talks about this within the phone flipping space, and this is like the main thing that has made me so much money is getting a consistent supply of phones from suppliers that I meet off the methods that I'm about to teach you. Um, but like just from one supplier, like I already know, like if I don't run any Facebook ads, if I don't do any outreach or I don't do anything, I already know that I'm gonna make an easy $6,000 profit in a month without even going out and trying to source new phones because I have a supplier that's consistently supplying me with phones. So it's just like a guaranteed income. Like I know if I don't do anything, I don't do any reach outs, I don't do any Facebook ads, I shut them off completely. I already know that my supplier is going to come through and easily make me at the least $6,000 profit in a month, right? So like that's the power of suppliers. And once you have a consistent base of suppliers, like that's when you could start like really freeing up your time. So like the past couple months I've been able to travel like literally every month, and it's because I've had suppliers consistently supplying me with phones. And you could easily make, if you have 3 suppliers, 4 suppliers, you could easily make a guaranteed $10,000 profit in a month with barely, like literally, like when I mean barely any work, I mean like you drive, like I drive 5 minutes down the road, pick up 50 phones from them, and my work is done. And then you just ship out the phones to my private buyer. So like that's how easy it is when you start to get suppliers. So how do you actually acquire and get these suppliers? So these are like the 3 methods. These are the 3 methods that I've used to get my suppliers. Um, and these people are supplying me, like keep in mind these people are supplying me with real iPhones. Like these are other iPhone resellers that are driving all around everywhere to pick up phones, and all those phones that they pick up are coming back to me. So like pretty much what a supplier does, um, is what my suppliers do is they drive all around like an hour away. They're willing to drive, wherever to pick up a bunch of phones. And they'll pick up, say 40 phones in like 3 days. And all 40 phones that they picked up from individual people, all those phones come right back to me. So instead of me having to go pick up 40 phones from 40 individual people, the supplier does that work and they bring all the phones back to me. So that's why it's like takes no time, and they do all the pretty much like all the heavy lifting for you by picking up all those phones, driving all those hours and all that. So like suppliers are crazy. But these are the best methods on how to get suppliers. So first of all is Facebook ads. Like that's for me personally, that's been the best way to get suppliers is Facebook ads. Just by running a Facebook ad at $10 to $25 a day, like $20 a day and up is like the best, is like the most optimal sort of spend per day that I've realized. Like when I spend $20 to $25 a day, that's when I get the most results. But suppliers, like you're not going to get a supplier reach out to you unless you're in a really popular area. You're not going to get a supplier reach out to you every day, every week, every month. I probably have a supplier reach out to me probably like once every 3 months. I'm not in the busiest area, but yeah, these people will reach out to you, see your ad. But I've came across suppliers probably about like once every 3 months. So total, I've only had like 3 suppliers, but they are really like they can make you a lot of money, no matter if it's one supplier or 5. Like obviously, the more suppliers you have, the more money you're gonna make. But just one supplier could be a literal game changer for you. And I know of people that have gotten into phone flipping. There's people in my community that have gotten into phone flipping. They did started off with Facebook ads and marketplace posts. They got one supplier and they shut off the ads, shut off everything because they can only afford the phones that they get from the supplier. because the supplier is giving them so many phones that they can't even afford to buy any more. So like all you have to do is just meet up with that one person and go pick up all their phones and your work is done, right? And then obviously eventually you get to a certain point where you're making a bunch of money from that supplier, and after a month or two you're able to buy more phones from more people, and you can start to afford more phones. So that won't last forever. Like you not being able to afford phones from anybody else, that won't last forever if you're consistently making profit from that supplier. But Facebook ads has been, that's why I highlighted it in green. It has been the best number one way that I've gotten phones in general, and also met suppliers. So not only is Facebook ads the best way that I get the most phones and make the most profit, but it is also the best way where I meet the most suppliers, and the most suppliers reach out to me, and I actually end up closing, a deal with them, and end up making a bunch of money from them, keep coming back to me with a bunch of their phones. And for those of you wondering, like, you're not paying these suppliers to go pick up phones, you're paying them for the phones that they bring you. So you're not paying them like an hourly rate. You're not paying them. You're not paying them for work. You're not paying them for work. You're paying them for the phones that they bring you, right? So if my supplier goes and picks up 40 phones and it takes him 5 hours, I'm paying him for the 40 phones. I'm not paying him for 5 hours. I'm not paying him for his gas or anything. I'm just paying him for the phones that he's bringing me. But the thing is that when you're getting a bunch of these phones and you're doing all this volume, typically, at least for me, I have lower profit margins. So normally per phone, I make about like $100 to $120, like $80 to $120. But with like suppliers' phones, I'm normally making like $40 to $50 profit per phone. So the profit does drop, but it saves me a crazy amount of time, and I'm getting so many phones that it does not even matter. But typically that's not even the case for everybody. Like there's someone inside the community that's making $150, $100 per phone that he's getting from his supplier. So it could be totally different, just for me, and he's not getting as many phones as me, but he's getting about like 20 phones a week from his supplier, and he's making $100 to $150 per phone profit. But for me, I'm getting like, sometimes even 50, 60 a week from a supplier. But I'm only making like $40 to $50 per phone. Now, like I said, the best method to get these suppliers is Facebook paid ads, like $20 a day. If you don't know how to run Facebook paid ads, or you don't know what they are, I mean, it's pretty much just people reaching out to you to sell their phone. So they're interested in selling their phone to you. They reach out to you. So ultimately, you have the leverage to pretty much lowball them. Like they're asking you to lowball them. Instead of you reaching out to people all day and outreaching to people all day, they reach out to you wanting to sell their phone, and you ultimately have the leverage to lowball them. And there's a lot of way better negotiation tactics to go about actually negotiating with someone when someone reaches out to you. It's a totally different ball game, and it's a lot better than reaching out to people every single day, all day, because you literally just sit back and you just get messages. You don't have to put really any effort into reaching out to people all day. They reach out to you, they see your ad on the marketplace, they reach out to you, and they sell you their phone, and that's really like how it goes. It's a very time efficient method to source phones, and like that's how I'm sourcing most of my phones, is Facebook ads. And from those Facebook ads, you will source the most amount of suppliers. So yeah, I mean, Facebook ads is definitely the best way. If you don't know how to run Facebook ads, or you don't know what they are, I would highly suggest looking at the Phone Flipping Masterclass. It is my community, my premium community, that I recommend for anybody who's looking to make, $5,000 to $10,000 a month with phone flipping. Pretty much, I teach you how to run Facebook ads. I teach you all the methods that I use on how to source phones, negotiation, give you my direct buyers, everything like that, along with like a one-on-one sort of aspect to it. You get me as a mentor, and you also get group calls with a bunch of phone flippers that are making thousands of dollars a month. So if you're interested in that and that sounds good, you could check out the Phone Flipping Masterclass in the description. It'll show you everything that you get. But other than that, another really good way to be sourcing suppliers and get these suppliers to actually see you is Facebook Marketplace posts. So these are also very powerful. If you haven't watched my free 2-hour course, I suggest you watching it. But I'll give you an example of what they really are and what they do. So these are, if I go to my Facebook Marketplace, like these are stuff that I'm posting. It's just these are the Facebook Marketplace posts. So just like something like this, like we buy iPhones, and you list them in every group possible. You list it in every single group, Facebook group possible. So that gets your sort of offer out to everybody, in your area. Like your offer is we buy iPhones, cash for iPhones on the spot, cash for iPhones today, stuff like that. So you are just trying to get your offer out to as many people as possible. So you post this on Facebook Marketplace and you also list it in as many groups as you possibly can. And you do this every single day. And eventually suppliers will reach out to you. I've gotten a couple suppliers reach out to me, even though these don't get a ton of views. They are people that actually want to sell their phone that actually view this and start to message you. But at least for my area, I don't get a ton of views, but these have gotten me suppliers and they have gotten me just like normal people wanting to sell their phone. This has made me a couple $1,000s in profit, and it's completely free. Like you list these for free. It doesn't cost you any money to list this on Facebook Marketplace, but you just have to do it a certain way. If you don't know what that certain way is and you don't know how to do it, I would suggest checking out my free 2-hour course that will teach you how to do it. So yeah, this is a very good way to get suppliers. And I would suggest, like, don't get discouraged. Like, if you look on your thing, like, you post these every day. If you're posting these every day, I could guarantee you that you will get a supplier and you will get phones sold to you. Like, a lot of people think that if you just do one thing, it'll work. Like, you have to be doing, it's not this one big thing that gets you so many phones. It's like the 100 little things that you do every single day that will start getting you a bunch of phones and a bunch of suppliers and a bunch of money, essentially. Like, it's not this one giant, like, one method or something that's like gets you 1 million phones and makes you a bunch of money and all that. It's like the 100 little things that you do every single day that ends up, paying off in the long run. So, and that's like what pretty much everybody's doing that's very, very successful at phone flipping, that's making $30,000-$40,000 profit a month. They're doing those 100 little things every single day consistently, and that's how they make so much money. So yeah, I would be posting these every single day. Don't get discouraged if you don't get any results in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Like, do these every single day, and I could guarantee you will get people to sell you phones. And not only that, you will get suppliers reach out to you eventually if you're doing this every single day. It's all about volume. And to take it a step further, I'm posting this on my main, Tice Hibbert account on Facebook, but you could also create another account and post these every single day, and then another account under different names, and start to create like an army of like cash for phones, we buy iPhones accounts. And like, it's all volume, really. It's literally just all volume. So yeah, like, this is a very good way to get phones, and not only a good way to get phones, but to also get suppliers to reach out to you. So yeah, Marketplace post is very good, and it'll get you suppliers. And then also, again, another good way is local flyers. So these are very slept on. I have not heard anybody talk about this. But local flyers are a very, very good way to get phones. I could pull up a picture of the flyers that I use personally. So it is pretty much, it's something that looks just like this. So it's just a paper. It's just literally a piece of paper that says all this on it. Get cash for your iPhone, get paid today. We buy iPhones 8 and newer. Call now for a free quote, and your phone number. And you basically print 50, 100, 200 of these papers out, and you stick them on speaker boxes locally near you. So what a speaker box is when you pull up to like a McDonald's and you talk to the person taking your order and their voice comes from that little speaker box thingy, that's where you're putting up these papers. And you're doing that at like McDonald's, Wendy's, Starbucks, Burger King, any place that has like a speaker box, like Dunkin', any place that has a speaker box that you talk to someone in a drive-through. So stick those up everywhere around, and you choose, like the best thing is that you choose your mile radius with this. So it's like if you drive 30 minutes and you put a bunch of flyers up 30 minutes away, you're probably going to get a lot of people call you that are 30 minutes away, and you have to drive 30 minutes away to get all their phones. But if you're only doing this in like 5 to 10 minutes away from you, then pretty much everybody that is calling you to sell you phones are going to be 5 to 10 minutes away from you, right? Because, you know, it's in their local area, it's in your local area, and you're hitting, you know, every Dunkin', Starbucks, Wendy's, McDonald's, everything around you. And like, not only is this a very good way to get like actual phones, but it is also a good way to get suppliers too. Personally, literally my first day doing this, I put one flyer up at a Dunkin', and then I put two flyers up at two different McDonald's, like literally 5 minutes away from me. And the next day, literally the next day, the first time I ever did it, I got a supplier, and it was right when the 15s were coming out, and he sold me literally like 6 15 Pro Maxes brand new in the box. It's like an easy $800 profit in a day. Just from, and these are free. Like if you have a printer at home, you could literally print these for free. So yeah, like it was very easy, and it took me, you know, 10, 15 minutes, and it made me $800 in profit. So again, same thing with this, like the more you put out, the more you're going to get. The more flyers you put out, the more phones, the more suppliers and everything that you're going to get. So yeah, I would suggest like the main thing that I could really push, and like when I want to jam into your brain, is just like everything with phone flipping is volume. The more volume you put in, the more phones you're going to get. And like phone flipping in general is like all a volume game. Because it's not like you're going to make $500, $600 profit per phone. You're making, you know, $50, $100, $150 profit per phone. So the more phones you get, the more money you're going to make. And the more volume you do with anything, the more phones you'll get. So resulting in, you know, obviously the more money that you will make. But let's talk about some of like the pros and cons about these suppliers. So really, there's not really a bunch of cons. With the pros, it's like obviously you get a bunch of phones with little to no work. Like literally for me, it's literally just driving 5-10 minutes down the street, meeting these people, and checking all the phones, and that's the work for the day. Like it's done, and it brings in an easy, you know, $6,000 profit in a month, depending on how many phones your supplier gives you. It could be 10,000, it could be 2,000. It's still a crazy amount of money for a little amount of work. And then it's a guaranteed source of phones. So like I said, like it's guaranteed. And suppliers will come and go 100%, but as long as you keep that supplier, it's a guaranteed source of phones. And you sort of like, and you kind of know, like if I shut off my Facebook ads and I don't do any work for the rest of the month, and I only get phones from my supplier, like you're guaranteed to make money. So having a supplier is just a way to guarantee a source of phones. So yeah, at least for me, like what I find, because I've had suppliers come and go, you know, supply me with a bunch of phones for a month, 2 months, and then they leave. But what I find the best is like the reason why the suppliers that I have now, the reason why I'm keeping them for so long is because I lower my profits. So it's like with the suppliers that I was making a lot of money off of, like the suppliers that were giving me phones and I was making $100 to $120 profit per phone that supplier was giving to me, I realized that they didn't stay that long because like they probably weren't getting the best end of the deal. But I realized like when I lower my profit margins and I'm only making $40 to $50 profit per phone, that those suppliers stick a lot longer. Like months, like 6, 7, 8 months. Like those suppliers stick a lot longer when you lower your profit and they get sort of like the best end of the deal, right? Because you got to remember, like these people are driving all over the place and getting new phones, and if you're just making, you know, you have to have sort of like a best interest in them too, you know. They have to make money too, and if they're not making money, they're not gonna keep supplying you with phones. So I would suggest personally, if you want to keep your supplier for a long period amount of time, then I would suggest lower your profit margins because you will keep them for a long time. But if you don't lower your profit margins and you're steady making $100, $150 profit per phone, they're going to leave you, and then you're going to be stuck with no supplier, and you're going to be keep on having to search for more suppliers. Like you're going to be on an endless cycle of searching for more suppliers. Whereas if you were to just lower your profit and not be greedy, you would keep your people, and you wouldn't have to consistently be looking for more. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for anybody who is in phone flipping, within the phone flipping space. But suppliers are by far like the biggest thing for me with where I'm at. Suppliers have made a big difference in like the way I flip phones. But yeah, if you like this video and you enjoyed it and it provided value to you, subscribe, and that's it. One last thing, because it is very important, and the thing is that nothing is going to happen overnight. It took me months to get my first supplier. If you just stay consistent and you keep showing up month after month after month, I could guarantee you that you are going to find a supplier, or a supplier is going to find you. And that goes the same thing for just phone flipping in general. The longer you stick with this, the more money you're going to make. It took me months to build up all the connections that I have now. But after 3 months, 4 months into phone flipping, I built up a ton of connections and was already making a bunch of money. With phone flipping, the biggest thing is the people that you meet. You're not going to meet a bunch of people in a week, 2 weeks. It takes months to meet these people, meet these suppliers, buyers, and everything like that. So if you stay consistent with it, I can promise you that you will make a ton of money.